They say the land remembers, that it watches, that it waits. A place untouched by time, beautiful, but deadly. A place where dozens have entered, yet never returned. This is Nahanni Valley. To most, it's one of Canada's last great frontiers. A remote, unspoiled wilderness in the Northwest Territories, where mountains pierce the sky and rivers carve through deep canyons. But to those who know its history, the valley has another name, the Valley of Headless Men. For more than a century, travelers, prospectors, and even experienced hunters have disappeared here. Some were never found. Others were discovered without their heads, as if something had taken them. But what? What unseen force lurks in this valley? Is it the unforgiving wilderness? An ancient curse? Or something far more sinister? Something that has been here long before us? Stay with us as we uncover one of the darkest, most chilling mysteries in Canadian history. But before we dive in, if you love exploring the unknown, uncovering hidden horrors, and questioning what lies beyond our understanding, make sure to subscribe. Turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Nahanni Valley lies deep within Canada's Northwest Territories, stretching for miles across untouched land. It's a place of breathtaking beauty and absolute isolation. No roads, no signs of modern civilization, just towering cliffs, raging rivers, and endless wilderness. But beneath this natural wonder, there's a darkness that even time cannot erase. Long before European explorers arrived, the indigenous Dene people feared this valley. Their stories speak of something unnatural lurking within it. They called it a cursed land, a place where those who entered did not return, a hunting ground for the Nahanni, a monstrous, humanoid creature with glowing eyes, towering over men and leaving nothing but bones in its wake. And then there were the Naha warriors, a tribe unlike any other, larger, stronger, ruthless in battle. They ruled these lands with an iron grip, until they too vanished. No bodies, no graves, no explanation. It was as if the valley swallowed them. When European fur traders and gold prospectors first heard of Nahanni Valley, they laughed at the stories. Curses, monsters, vanishing tribes. To them, it was all superstition. But that was before they began disappearing. The first recorded case of a missing prospector came in 1898. A man named Henry Carter set out alone, determined to strike gold. He never came back. His camp was found intact, his belongings untouched. But there was no sign of Carter. No tracks, no blood, no body. Just his rifle, leaning against a tree, and a half-written journal, where the last entry read, "Something is following me. I see its eyes at night." By the early 1900s, whispers of strange firelight flickering in the valley at night became common. Trappers reported hearing screams carried by the wind. Not human, not animal, but something in between. One explorer, William Reagan, described seeing a glowing shape move through the trees. He fired his gun, but when he approached, nothing was there. Only huge footprints, larger than any bear, disappearing into the river. In 1905, a group of 4 experienced hunters entered the valley. They never returned. Months later, their campsite was discovered, their rifles still loaded and unused. And then the search party found their bodies, scattered, torn apart. But their heads? Their heads were never found. It was then that the Dane elders issued their warning once more. Leave the valley be. It belongs to the spirits of the lost. By the time gold prospectors arrived in the early 1900s, Nahanni Valley had gained a fearsome reputation. The indigenous tribes avoided it. Experienced hunters refused to enter. But some, blinded by gold fever, ignored the warnings. Among them were 2 brothers, Willie and Frank McLeod. They would not live to regret their mistake. In 1904, brothers Willie and Frank McLeod heard rumors of gold hidden deep in Nahanni Valley, a river so rich with minerals that nuggets the size of eggs could be found beneath the water's surface. The warnings of the indigenous Dene people, they ignored them. The stories of missing hunters and glowing-eyed creatures in the mist, they laughed them off. Willie and Frank believed in one thing only, fortune. So, armed with their mining gear, rifles, and weeks' worth of supplies, they set off down the South Nahanni River. They promised their friends that within months, they'd return wealthy beyond imagination. They never came back. Months turned into years, and the McLeods were nowhere to be found. Their friends waited and worried. Some whispered that the valley had taken them. Others believed they had found the gold and disappeared on purpose. But those who knew Nahanni's reputation feared the worst. Then, in 1908, a search party ventured into the valley. It didn't take long for them to find what was left of Willie and Frank McLeod. Their bodies lay near the riverbank, untouched by animals, their rifles still within reach. But their heads? Gone, cleanly removed, with no sign of a struggle. Who or what had done this? At first, people assumed it had been rival gold prospectors, men who had followed the McLeods, killed them for their gold, and stolen their supplies. But there was a problem. No one took their gold. The nuggets and mining tools were still there, untouched. Their camp was undisturbed, as if they had simply laid down and died. And then there was the manner of their deaths. Their bodies showed no signs of a fight, no gunshot wounds, no claw marks or animal attacks, just decapitation. And in Nahanni Valley, this was not the first time, and it would not be the last. If the McLeod brothers' deaths were an isolated case, perhaps the valley could be explained away as a tragedy, a brutal crime in a lawless land. But their headless bodies were only the beginning. The valley wasn't done, and neither was the thing that haunted it. Nearly a decade after the McLeods were found, another prospector, Martin Jorgensen, made his way into the valley. He wrote home to friends, claiming he had struck gold and was preparing to leave. He was never seen again. Months later, a charred ruin was found where his cabin once stood. Jorgensen's headless body was discovered nearby, burned to the bone. But the most terrifying part, his gun was found outside, leaning against a tree, unfired. Whatever had come for him, he hadn't even had time to defend himself. The next known victim was John O'Brien, a seasoned trapper. His body was found frozen solid, kneeling by his fire, matches still clutched in his hands. His face was locked in a frozen grimace of terror. He had died trying to light a fire, yet his supplies were untouched. The valley didn't just take men. In 1926, a woman named Annie Lafferty was seen wandering the valley, naked and delirious. She climbed a rocky hill in the dead of night. Her body was found days later at the top. No wounds, no signs of attack. But her face? It was twisted in a look of horror, as if she had seen something no human should see. More stories followed, more deaths, more disappearances. And in every case, one thing remained the same. Bodies left behind, untouched. Supplies and weapons undisturbed. And heads missing. By now, the question isn't just who or what is responsible. It's why. Some believe it's the work of a hidden tribe, descendants of the Naha warriors, killing intruders who dare enter their land. Others speak of the Nahanni, the ancient monster of Dane legend, a massive, hairy, man-like beast that stalks its prey in silence. And then there's an even darker theory, that Nahanni Valley is not just a place, it is a hunting ground, a place where something ancient, something hungry claims lives, a force that does not just kill, but takes something more. Because if it were simple murder, why are the heads always missing? What is it that this valley doesn't want us to see? And more importantly, what happens to those heads? If you speak to the locals, they'll tell you one thing: the valley is not empty. They say something lives there, something that does not welcome outsiders. Some say it's the spirits of the Naha warriors, exacting revenge on those who trespass. Others speak of the Nahanni, a terrifying, hairy giant that stalks the forest, waiting for travelers to stray too far from camp. And then there are the stories no one dares to tell aloud. The thing that moves between the trees, vanishing just as you turn your head. The low whispers that echo from the canyon walls, even when no one else is there. The eyes glowing in the darkness, just beyond the firelight. Could it be an undiscovered species? A relic from an age when humans were not the dominant hunters? Or is it something else entirely? Something inhuman. Something that does not just kill but feeds. Not all theories are grounded in flesh and blood. Some believe the Nahanni Valley is more than a place. That it is a rift between this world and something else. A doorway. To where? No one knows. But those who enter do not always return. And those who do are never quite the same. The Dani people whisper about places where time moves differently, where the air itself feels wrong. Some hunters claim to have seen people walking through the valley, only to realize they left no footprints in the snow. There are stories, of men who entered caves only to emerge days later, unable to remember what happened. And then there are the ones who never emerge at all. What if Nahanni isn't a valley at all? What if it's a trap? A place that takes more than just lives. A place that takes souls. Some believe the valley is not just haunted, it is hiding something. A gateway to the hollow earth, a vast, unexplored world beneath our own, home to ancient beings who do not take kindly to trespassers. These beings, they say, are the true rulers of Nahanni. They do not show themselves. They do not negotiate. They do not leave their victims whole, and the missing heads taken as trophies, or worse, to ensure no one sees what was done to them. The legends of Nahanni Valley are not just old stories. The disappearances continue to this day. In 2005, two experienced outdoorsmen, David Horsey and Frederick Hardesty, vanished near the North Nahanni River. Days later, their bodies were found under bizarre circumstances. One had been burned beyond recognition, yet his surroundings remained untouched. The other was discovered miles away, floating in the river, his body eerily preserved. Inside their cabin, investigators found bullet holes in the walls, but their weapons were never fired. What were they shooting at? Or worse, what were they trying to keep out? And why did they fail? Many who enter Nahanni Valley return changed. They speak of a presence, something they cannot explain, but feel deep in their bones. A pressure in the air, like something unseen is always watching. Some experience vivid nightmares for months afterward, visions of shadowy figures, burning eyes, and whispers in a language they do not understand. Others report time distortion, walking for what felt like minutes, only to discover hours had passed. Or worse, finding themselves somewhere completely different, with no memory of how they got there. Could this be psychological? Or is it something else? A force that does not just kill, but changes those who survive? For over a century, Nahanni Valley has remained one of the world's most unexplained mysteries. Scientists, adventurers, and investigators continue to seek the truth. New expeditions bring thermal imaging, ground-penetrating radar, and drones to scan the terrain. But technology means nothing if the valley does not wish to be seen. And those who push too far, they risk becoming part of the legend themselves. The truth is out there, somewhere in the mist. But perhaps some doors are meant to remain closed, and some mysteries are meant to stay unsolved. What do you think? Is Nahanni Valley simply an unforgiving wilderness? Or is it something far more sinister? Is it a land of ancient spirits, hidden predators, and lost civilizations? Or is it a rift, a doorway to something beyond human understanding? Leave your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoy unraveling the world's most terrifying mysteries, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because the next story might be even darker.